You know, I wanted to do this video because I've got some really good news to share with you, by the way, around helping our brain to release and cure our pain. However, if you've ever done a YouTube video and you're trying to set things up so it looks nice, I got to tell you, I take my hat off to the crew that are on YouTube and all the different people that are sharing their wonderful wisdom and what they do from a studio lighting perspective, because I've got to tell you, just wanting to share this quick good news story with you, the things that you've got to do. Anyway, so excuse me, I've done my best and I'm no expert at the technology side of things, but hopefully my message is worth it. So thanks for checking in. My name's Trevor Russell, and I am someone who has gone on a journey to break free from chronic pain on a number of occasions, and that's what my story is about, because I did a video for today, because I did a video a few weeks ago where I was really struggling. And for someone who's been through this chronic pain cycle a number of times, and if you're suffering with chronic pain and you want to know what you can do to break free from the chronic pain cycle, and when I talk about chronic pain, what I'm referring to is not you've hurt your neck and it's a bit sore and you've been a bit stressed, and or you're playing tennis and you pulled a muscle in your neck and it heals. I'm talking about chronic pain that comes out of nowhere very often, or you go and bend over and you pick something up and your back goes or your shoulder goes, but it stays for months and it's relentless and it's intense and it burns and it pulses and it's insipid. It just stays. That's the type of chronic pain that I'm talking about. And if you're someone who is looking for answers as to what you can do to ease this pain, break free from this pain, understand what it is, well, I'm no medical expert. I'm someone that has gone on the journey to not just once, but on many occasions experience bouts of mild to severe chronic pain, and have, through the tools and information that I'll share with you today, has helped me to navigate myself out of the chronic pain cycle. And that's what I want to share with you in this video today. And just a little bit of a backstory. I started my YouTube channel quite a few years ago, and thank you to all of you who have subscribed. And while it's small, sweet little community, I decided to change it to Transformed You, because I am very passionate about accessing, sharing, and using knowledge that can help us transform our lives. And I've expanded this out into other areas, not only just in helping us with our health, to have a more healthy, vibrant mindset, physical health, financial health, career health, relationship health, to transform us in all these important areas in our life. However, at the core of my message and why I originally launched my channel was off the back of coming out of probably one of the most debilitating times in my life, where I was suffering with severe chronic pain. And this is probably a nice segue into what I wanted to share with you in this video, is discovering a wonderful gentleman by the name of Dr. John E. Sarno. And I discovered Dr. Sarno while laying in my friend's spare room, sleeping in a bunk bed and trying to recover from what was the most severe chronic neck, back pain, and I had shooting sensation down my arm. I could barely use my right arm. These the ends of my fingers I couldn't feel for months. I was hunched over. And how I ended up in this situation was through a job that I'd been doing, but very much applying the practices, if this makes sense, by the practices that people that, have a greater propensity to struggle with chronic pain, which are these personality traits. And if you'd like to know, because this might help you, is we are A-type personalities, perfectionists, concerned about the opinion of others, high achievers, push ourselves almost from a place of fear and nervousness, because very often we have struggled and we've experienced and struggled with suffering in adulthood from childhood abuse, whether physical, mental, emotional. And what happens is, if we're a sensitive soul, we're a passionate soul, and we've gone through this abuse, we are very often the perfect candidates to grow up and suffer with different forms of chronic pain. And it can show up in all parts of the body, the neck, the back, the lower back very often, and a lot of what is diagnosed as sciatica or RSI. And while I know there are instances where people have genuine physical conditions, and I'm not saying that they've been diagnosed with a bulging disc or a spur or a compressed, something, because what Sano opened my mind to was he realized that there are people that have those same, what he calls normal abnormalities, and had no pain. And then he had other people with those normal abnormalities. In other words, we all have things in our body that wear down and they rub and they're broken, but some have pain and some don't. And what he uncovered after researching many people and asking himself, why are some having pain and some are not, it came back to, again, how these people, and I'll put my hand up for being one of those people, is the personality traits and how we deal with life and stressful situations that can cause our body to bring on pain. And I'm going to get to my recommendation. Well, I won't say recommendations, what I do and my suggestions that have helped me just navigate out of another pain cycle, which I'll tell you about in a moment. But again, just reiterating, if you are one of these people that are struggling with chronic pain, and I'm even talking, you can even get it in your jaw, you can get it in your eye, you can tinnitus and vertigo are now showing up to be conditions of this same tension mind syndrome, which is the body does these things because of how we do life and how we think about life and how we deal with things. Okay, so quick backstory. Now, what have I recently done, and what would be helpful for me to share with you here today? Well, what I have done is I have gone and put myself in a very stressful situation back, well, maybe not for everyone, but for me, and I think for most people, this would be a stressful situation. But I resigned from my full-time employment last November, and I had been working on an online business, an affiliate marketing business that I've been learning and studying. And I got into what I call this almost psychotic zone where I was working on the website and building stuff, and I got this idea that I wanted to write a guide for the affiliate business as a giveaway, and it's called The Secrets of the Modern Wealthy, and it's all about life and goal setting and how to master your money. And I thought, I'll write this because it'll help me with my own journey. But I was literally like obsessed, because I realized, now reflecting, I had so much fear underneath that. I'd left my job, it was my primary source of income. I had to get this online business going, but I couldn't really launch it until I had this written. And I just kept writing, and almost couldn't stop myself because every idea that I got, I thought, oh, I've got to have it in there. I've got to have it in there. So I almost just killed myself emotionally. And my beautiful woman and partner, Marie's like, Trevor, what are you doing? Like you got to just take it easy. And I was coming into my office at 4 a.m. and writing and writing and writing. And what happened was, not because of posture, because this is the other thing I've realized where I'm going with this is because I was writing, I was so amped up like this, which I don't believe necessarily, yes, locking your shoulders up is definitely going to cause tightness, but I believe what it really is, what's happening is we are putting ourselves into a mental high stress state. And what the brain does is it clicks in and says, you are in danger. You are, you're in danger. You watch out. And what it does is it starts turning on mild pain. And I noticed I was starting to get a little bit of pain. And here's a guy. I wrote a book on this topic, right? And I'm rewriting it at the moment. And I'm going to give away copies of this book. And I'll tell you in a moment if you'd like one. But I wrote a book on it. And I'll share about some other books and material that I highly recommend that you read if you haven't already, to help you on your own recovery from pain journey. But I'm the guy that knew all this stuff. And here I was doing it again to myself, pushing myself to the point where it was almost like I couldn't control it. And to the point where I ended up over a few months, because it gradually built. And it come kind of January, February, I did a video maybe a few weeks ago back, and I was struggling. I had been hit with severe TMS, chronic neck pain, and it was here, and it literally felt like a hot knife stabbing in my neck every day. But the good news is it's not there anymore. And that's what I finally want to get to in this story, because there's good news that, and that's why I'm so passionate about sharing this, is because if you are feeling this deep form of chronic pain and you're not already aware of this concept and modality around helping our brain release the pain by how we manage our thoughts and use neuroplasticity to help our brain to let go of the pain. And for the time that we've got, what can I share with you as either reminders or good, helpful information for you to help you release yourself from any form of chronic pain that you're suffering. And here's my list. I've got some notes here. The first thing is, and by the way, just a side note, if you don't already know what I'm about to share with you, it'll be fresh. But if you do know, it's still probably a very important thing to know, because I can know this stuff and we still can go down bad paths, rabbit holes, end up on the wrong track and end up in pain. And it's not easy. I believe, firstly, the biggest reason why most people stay stuck with chronic pain is because they don't want to do the work. And I am not going to sugarcoat this. And the work's not that hard, but it's a little bit harder than taking pills and going and getting a massage. Now, don't get me wrong. I know what it's like when you're suffering and you want relief from your pain. You just want someone to help you release that pain. And if it's pain medication, and for some it's alcohol and others it's massage and treatments, I get it. Now, I'm not saying go and drink your pain away, and I'm not saying don't have painkillers to help, and I'm not here to prescribe medication or anything, but when I have been in pain, I've taken some mild painkillers just to help ease the suffering, to get our body out of fight or flight, but it's not the cure. There's a cure that can help get rid of it completely. And I'm telling you right here, right now, I've had pain, and there's nothing you can tell me that your pain is and it's not a competition, but Trevor, you don't understand what I'm feeling. It feels like there is something pressing. It feels like there is something in there, and it's a knot, and it's grueling, and you can't. I literally could not lift my head up like that. That it was agonizing. For me to do that, it would be burning in here, right? And now it's gone, right? Now I'm not saying that to show off, but here's the deal. Okay, the first thing is you've got to disassociate from the fact that your pain is because of something that happened physically. Get checked by a doctor if you want reassurance, go make sure, and they'll tell you some physical reason. There's a change in the medical industry a bit, but there's still very much physical pain, physical condition, because they're out of time. They got to do their job and they got to get on to the next thing. They don't have time to go into the depths of your challenges and personality traits. So it would make sense. So if you want to go get checked, do all of that. But everything I'm telling you here is harmless. There's nothing that I'm about to share with you that can hurt you physically, because it's all a concept of how we can use our mind. Yeah? Okay. So here's the other thing. It's disassociating with the pain you're experiencing because of the car accident that you had in 2003, which is 20 odd years ago. The body heals. It doesn't stay. I know this because my first lower back pain came on when I was in my 20s, and it stayed for years, and I never knew this stuff. And I associated for years that my lower back pain was because of the snow skiing accident that I had. And every doctor said, you've got a bulging disc between L4, 5, and that's why you got chronic pain. I have no chronic pain in my lower back anymore. None. If anything, these days when I get chronic pain, it's up here. I don't get in my lower back. Now, I had chronic pain on and off in my lower back for years and years, and I would go out to clubs and I'd have to find a spot to try and sit and ease my pain, and sometimes I'd come home in tears and agony. My poor parents trying to help me. At one point, they took me to a surgeon. He said, we've got to cut out the thing. Thank God for my father. He said, you're not cutting my son open. And thank God, thank you, Dad, and thank you, Mum, for not doing that, because now I have no pain, right? It's gone because I've changed this thing up here, which is what I'm going through with you now. What can you do to release your own pain by helping your brain release the pain? It is disassociating your pain coming from something that happened. You were mowing the lawn, you bent over the wrong way, you had an accident. That pain will come if it's a sprain, but it heals. This long-term chronic pain is because of other reasons. It's becoming aware of the reasons. The reasons are, do you hold everything in and don't communicate your needs? Are you worried about things? Are you concerned about things, but you don't want to share? You're stoic, you are strong, you are the man, or you are the woman, and you keep it all in while you are effing suffering in chronic pain. If you're so tough and courageous, your toughness and courageous would be coming from communicating your needs and actually saying, I need help, I'm scared, I'm confused, I don't know what to do, I feel less than, I'm worried. That's courage. Stoicism, some stoicism I love, but some, to release and share, maybe Marcus Aurelius did say to share, I'm not sure, but I love a lot of elements of stoicism, but being stoic and keeping it in is a short-sighted, outdated strategy if you're suffering with chronic pain. You've got to communicate. You've got to share what's going on, because then the body can release the tension. The next thing is letting go of perfectionism. Perfectionism, that everything has to be perfect, that you have to be perfect, that what you do has to be perfect, and your kids have to be perfect, and you have to be perfect in your job, and you have to be perfect on your sport. You've got to let go of the perfectionism. Some people might be able to get away with it, but if you're a chronic pain sufferer like I am, or the propensity to it, the perfectionism from my experience comes from critical childhood parenting, that we grow up and have this critical inner voice that generally is quiet when things are going well, but as soon as there are challenges in life, uncertainty maybe in relationship, money, career, business, things that can bring on fear, the inner critic kicks in and makes it even worse, right? Because it's like, what are you doing? You're going to fail, and it's not going to work, and you're not smart enough, and you're not perfect enough. When things are going well, wonderful. But when things are challenging, letting go of the perfectionism, actually letting go of the perfectionism all the time, doing our best, but loving ourselves and being more compassionate to ourselves and being our own best friends and saying, I am not perfect. I am not perfect. I am a human being. I'm doing the best that I can. Some things I do well, some things I don't do well. Sometimes I don't have the answers. Sometimes I don't know what to do because I'm a human being. And this is something that I'm learning and had to learn. And this is what I've realized now with the release of my pain, is being really kind to myself and saying, I accept exactly where I'm at. I'm uncertain in my work. I'm uncertain with my finances. I have worries and concerns. All of this is still going on for me, by the way. I'm learning about some new ways to make money online, but that's a hobby. I'm looking for work at the moment. I'm looking for a business or something, and I've got a few things that I'm looking at, but nothing secure yet. But the good thing is, because I've realized that I'm being really kind to myself and letting go, I'm going through a stressful time at the moment, but I don't have chronic pain. And I think this is the difference. This is the difference between going through a stressful time and being really hard on ourselves and the inner critic kicking in, versus going through challenging times but being really gentle with ourselves and speaking up more, talking to our partners, our friends, making sure that we're communicating and we're not isolating ourselves. I believe this is what's helped me release from pain. The other thing too is self-care. If you're suffering with chronic pain and you want to release, this is also the time where at times we've got to self-care. Now, the belief, and I believe it and I apply it, once you recognize and you have become complete with knowing that your pain is a mentally caused condition, there's nothing physically wrong with you, even though you might have a spur or bulge, but it's your brain causing the pain because these learnt operating styles and habits, that there's nothing physically wrong with you, but pain is pain. It's not imagined, it is real. You cut your arm, that's pain. You feel pain because of TMS, it's still caused by the brain. It's still pain. It's not imagined, it's very real. So the other thing is self-care. There's a time to move and to do while you have pain, and this has been another part of my journey. I've still gone to the gym, I still walk my dog, I still do life, but at times I've had to go lay down, taken a couple of Panadol painkillers and rested, watched a movie, pain still there, put a pillow behind my neck, and nurtured myself to recognize that I'm going through a chronic pain bout at the moment, but underlyingly, I think this is probably the biggest recommendation, is I believe it will pass. I know it will pass. It's not forever. It is temporary. It is my brain causing the pain by whatever it does, as they say, cuts off oxygen to that parts of the body, and it will go and it will leave. It's just a matter of time, and I just need to do life and recognize that it's there while I'm gentle and care for myself as best as I can, even though I'm a high energy personality, as you can tell, right? But being really kind, sharing, communicating, accepting, and knowing that it will pass. It has nothing to do with the ski accident that I had 482 years ago. It has nothing to do with me overdoing it at the gym 3 months ago. It is a mentally brain-causing condition, and it's passed before and it'll pass again. This is why I believe the biggest reason is that the pain goes is because the change of the belief and the self-care. All right, the next thing is, as Tanner, I hope I say your name, Tanner, if you ever see this. Muntag, I think. I'll put a link to Tanner's channel here. Tanner is a psychologist, I think, in Canada, and specializes in pain recovery therapy, and does a lot of work in this space around TMS and chronic pain and release, and he suffered with it himself. And Tanner talks a lot about somatic tracking, and so does Alan Gordon here, The Way Out, in his book. And what somatic tracking is it's being with your pain, being with yourself, feeling into it, and just letting it be there and going, well, this is my interpretation of somatic tracking is, it's interesting. What is that? It's just there, and feel it and be with it. Because one of the things that I'm learning in life, hopefully I'm starting to figure this thing out, is very often our suffering comes from a place of not wanting to accept what's going on, and not wanting to accept that we are in a challenging situation and we are experiencing pain, whether it's physically in the body or emotionally because we're trying to find our way in life. We've had a career loss or a financial loss or a relationship loss or a health loss. And acceptance for me, as I'm learning, and maybe this is another big reason why my pain is now gone, is when I say acceptance, I'm not saying giving up, but it is finding resolve in the fact, sure, my inner critic might be saying, you should have more money at this time in your life, Trevor. You should have a better business at this time in your life, Trevor. And you should have that. And you should have this because this is the age you're at. And that's what people should have. Whereas I've now realized and gone, what a load of baloney. Because my inner critic isn't saying to me, oh, why don't you compare yourself to the person who gave up and did nothing, and they're in a far worse situation than myself. And I'm not wanting to judge that person, but the inner critic is causing this suffering that makes it worse, as opposed to, thank you, inner critic, for doing your fine work that you are trying to do, that you learnt whenever you learnt. But I accept where I'm at. I accept what I've got. I accept what I've done. I accept the good that I am, and I accept the things that I'm not so good at and I don't know yet, and I accept that I'm afraid, and I accept that things are a bit uncertain, but I'm okay. And there's no rule book, there's no media and advertising might say, oh, you should have this and you should have that. My reality is I don't have that, but what I do have is this. I've got that, I've got that, I've got that, I've got that, I've got all those beautiful things. So I'm okay. I will be okay, but I accept, and this is a beautiful Stoic philosophy, is love where you're at and go, I'm here. This is what I've got, and this is what I'm living with, and this is what I'm accepting that I have. Now we get freed up to go and make some changes, because the energy of the self-judgment and the ridicule that very often is influencing this chronic pain is released. So now we have more energy and more peace within to go and look for the job, find the new relationship, get to the gym, get healthier again, write the book, whatever it is, spend more time with the family, whatever it is. The love and the self-acceptance is another big part of it. The other thing too, and I'll do a summary of all of them because I've jumped around a bit, is the ongoing self-awareness about your pain being a mentally brain-induced condition. And this is just me personally. You do what you've got to do for self-care, but I don't get any massage. I don't get any chiropractic treatments. I don't get any manipulation. On occasion, my beautiful girl, she gave me a shoulder rub just to help ease the pain, and it was nice for a little bit, but 20 minutes later, it's still there. Because for me and my understanding and awareness now and belief is that this is a mentally induced experience that I'm going through, this pain that I'm feeling, even though I can feel like there was a knot there, maybe there was a knot, but the massaging the knot while it feels good is not the real release and cure. It is all these other things. Let's summarize it, because I've talked for way longer than I had thought. And if you're still with me, I hope you find this helpful. Do you suffer with chronic pain? Has it been relentless and persistent and long-term? And you'd like to know how to free yourself from that chronic pain? Here's the things that I would suggest that you do if you're not already doing them, but reinforce them as important if you are, and if you're not, do them. Don't think about doing them, do them. There is work to be done. The first thing is to get checked, of course. You don't want a bone sticking out of your leg and saying, oh, it's TMS. It's like, go get checked for your own peace of mind. But as I said at the beginning, none of these are physically harming. It's all self-awareness and mind-related tools. The first thing is changing the belief. The belief is, even though I had the skiing accident, I bent over and I picked something up and I've got pain, what is the real reason that you have pain? And your pain is not caused by the physical thing, it's caused by the stuff that's going on in your life and how you do life. And if you are doing these things, try and shift them. Become a better communicator. Share if you have things that are concerning you. Release, whether it's with a counselor or your loving friends or partner, but be open to releasing what you might be holding in. Be really kind to yourself. Nurture yourself. Accept that life is difficult. Accept that life is challenging, but you are not perfect. You don't need to be perfect. You are beautiful and wonderful as you are, trying your best to navigate yourself on this planet and earth and the journey that we're all on in our own unique, different ways, because living on planet Earth, I find at times is wonderful, and at times it's also extremely challenging, and that means that we would want to nurture ourselves. Yeah? The next thing is to be with your pain, from, as Tanner talks a lot about, and Alan and Dr. Schubiner, the somatic tracking, being with the pain and just feeling it, laying and relaxing and taking a breath and nurturing yourself and being really honest with yourself and saying, I'm going to lay down for half an hour. Kids, get your own dinner. Mum, dad, whatever, needs to have a rest for a minute. And that's the other thing too. I missed that earlier. Setting boundaries. Not doing for everyone and not doing for yourself. Nurture yourself. There's nothing wrong with putting yourself first and saying, I need some help. I need you to do that. I need you to do that because I need some help and some rest to take care of me, to take the pressure off. Can seem rather simple, but so important, right? In the big scheme of things. And the last but not least in this is to give it time. With a belief that this is a mental condition by the brain doing what it does to cause pain in parts of the body where we have normal abnormalities, and that it's going to pass, it's temporary, this is going to leave, I'm being kinder to myself, I'm loving myself, I accept myself, it's okay to be uncertain, it's okay to have fears, and I can navigate myself through this. I'm going to be okay. I'm going to communicate and share that I might have fears and concerns, and I'm going to be more open and more loving and understanding to myself, and give it time. Maybe in there's a few things that you might want to change. Maybe there's a change of career or a relationship or job that is causing you pain. Because back when I had this chronic arm pain, I was in such a terrible, toxic, evil environment where I was working that I was just in fight or flight every day. No wonder my body and brain went in, we're getting you out of here, Trevor. This place is like a living hell. And I did. My arm just wouldn't work. Funnily, that means I couldn't use my computer and I had to leave the job, right? Funny about that. So I hope this helps. And just before I go, I did say I've got something for you. I am rewriting this book. It's Time to Cure Your Neck and Back Pain. I've written all over the cover, so excuse me, it's the only copy I've got at the moment. But if you want a gift-free PDF copy of this, I'm happy to give it to you. While it still needs some editing, that's why I'm redoing it. The content is sound. It's my story, my journey, what I've learned. on this journey to recover from chronic pain and how you can benefit from it too. If you want a copy of the current version, I will send it to you as a gift. Just send me an email. I'll put my email below and I'll send you a PDF version. And all I would ask is have a read of it, apply it, and if you get some benefit from it, you could leave me a review on Amazon so I can help share the word to more people, because yeah, this is important stuff, and that would be wonderful. Love to you. Thank you. And another book too, Alan Gordon's The Way Out, and Tanner, I will put Tanner's link, and I've also put some other links there. Joey Remini, who wrote Rocksteady, helping people, including myself. I was suffering with chronic tinnitus that has pretty much gone now, comes up a little bit, part of the whole TMS thing. Wonderful, wonderful woman who is helping people navigate themselves out of chronic tinnitus, vertigo, and other debilitating conditions, generally because of this whole mind-body stress connection through the use of neuroplastic tools, and all with the goal to help us transform ourselves into better, happier, healthier people. Sending love, Trevor out, and please give me a like or give me a comment, and I'm obviously very passionate about this topic because it is so life-changing, and I know what it's like. Excuse me, a bit emotional. I know what it's like to suffer with this affliction. I want to give you hope that you can break free from pain. And all YouTube aside and pretty lights and making sure your hair looks good, I get how real and debilitating it is. I get the suffering. I've been in bed where I can barely get up and want to even get up. Don't even want to get up because it's so debilitating. It is real and I understand it. And I want to let you know it is possible. If I can, you can. It's just changing our beliefs and how we do life, and go easier on ourselves and love ourselves. Okay? My clicker. I got to remember to use my clicker. Sending love. Back to you soon. Send me an email. Still going.